Good day, and thank you for joining two of the NCPC Opioid Use Management webinar series. Thank you. Thank you both, Mr. Prokop.
I'm the CEO and founder of TruMedicines, and I worked at Microsoft and worked on the Xbox Connect product, which is a computer citizen product. In 2013, I left Microsoft and started working on the tracking of pharmaceuticals. And the reason why I did that is people ask why do we need to track pills individually. One of the biggest reasons is that all types of pharmaceuticals have been counterfeited, and so the logos, the serial numbers, the barcodes, the looks of the pills have been counterfeited, and there's a wash of counterfeit pills around the world, and so there needs to be a method identifying individual pills outside their packaging. Basically, when a pill has been removed from its packaging, there's really no way to identify that pill unless you're an expert, and even experts have trouble. Another salient feature for clinicians is that clinicians, according to the CFR, needs to have a diversion control plan that prevents drugs that are opioids to get out of the hands of the patient and into people that weren't prescribed. There was a 2013 HHS survey done that said 68% of all opioids were legally cured, but were given by friends or family to opiate abusers. So that's a big problem that I think tracking individual drugs can help solve. There's a slide that talks about the increasing numbers daily of overdoses with transitioning from opioids to heroin. What happened in 2013, Congress passed the Drug Security Act that was a 10-year rollout of when drugs were going to be tracked using various methods along the supply chain. The first big step in that tracking process was going to happen in October of this year, and there was a survey done by all manufacturers, and they found out that 3/4 of the manufacturers were not ready to implement a serialization of their products. So it looks to be a big problem with the big pharma's having, and what TruMedicines is trying to do is produce a turnkey solution for manufacturers that can track their drugs completely through the supply chain, from manufacturer through distribution center to the pharmacist. This slide shows a story about Walter White and his counterfeiting of drugs, and Walter White was actually replicated off a real guy named George Marquette, who was called the Wizard of Wichita. And George Marquette just got out of prison after 22 years, and George wasn't making meth in a lab, but he was actually making fentanyl. But fentanyl is a very difficult drug. George was able to manipulate the molecule so it looked like the drug he was making came from different laboratories, but actually George was supplying the whole country with fentanyl. Here's a picture of a sack of flour, and if you had a sack of flour full of fentanyl, you'd be able to produce over 1 million tablets, and you would get $45 million from selling those tablets. This becomes a real problem with smuggling of that drug into the United States because it's so small and so powerful that you could put 1 million pills in a salt shaker. This is a problem that we're going to face for the foreseeable future with that. And here we have a demo of
TruMedicines presents a live demonstration of our augmented computer vision app, which can read the serial number from the surface pattern on a pill.
This tablet of the antibiotic amoxicillin, Amoxar 500 milligrams, is genuine and made by GlaxoSmithKline. Please consume this tablet with food.
An interesting thing about this drug that it's identifying. It was a drug made in the Kilimanjaro School of Pharmacy in Moshi, Tanzania, under the help of Dr. Joseph Fortunak from Howard University. And it's a coincidence that last webinar, Dr. Chapman was also from Howard University, showing his app for a spoke and hub application in the Washington, D.C. area. So they're doing a lot of good work in Howard University. This slide is an example of how fentanyl can look like an oxy pill and very difficult to identify. But using computer software and computer vision, we're able to take a close look at these medications and identify all the spots and speckles that are in Schedule II drugs, particularly. And you've all heard this story that snowflakes are unique to themselves and no snowflakes are the same. Well, this holds up true with 5 speckled pills. It's like having 100 snowflakes on the surface of a pill. And of course, human eyes can't really see that, but of course a computer and cell phone camera can see all those little speckles. And so this makes this pill extremely unique, and that all pills are actually pressed with a unique identifier of the granules that they have inside the pill. And they've been taking pictures of pills for 25 years in the pharmaceutical manufacturing process all around the world, in factories and at packaging stations, packaging companies. And here's an example of a high-speed camera that takes 130,000 images of pills an hour. They basically look for any cracks or misshapen pills during the manufacturing process. So what we're doing is leveraging that information, and we ask them to upload after a production run all the images they have of their pills up to our database, and so we can use our app to authenticate those images. And here's a slide of showing just that, where a user would take a picture of the packaging of the pill. It goes up to our cloud database and searches for that image. We do a match, and then we bring down that image back down to the cell phone, show it to the user, and also announce to the user what that pill is, where it was made, other information about that tablet. And this would help people that are illiterate or have low vision or even blind to be able to identify medications. So we think this is going to be a very powerful application for disabled people. Also, the application can announce the drug information in 52 languages, and so we're continuing to expand the capabilities of the audio software. And not only can we identify opioids, but we can also identify the medications that treat opioids. So here's a case where we're looking at Prokop, where it can identify the pill, and the patient would scan their pill on a daily basis, and that information of when and where the pill was scanned would be sent to our database and would have access by clinicians to see that a patient where that pill was registered to was actually taking their pills. So this allows us to have instant access to compliance information for that patient. So this keeps people on track, because again, there's a computer vision look of what that pill looks like up close. And on the right-hand side, you can see that the computer is able to automatically number each of the little granules in the pills. And so that becomes a very unique thumbprint signature for that pill. And this can also be done with other medications to help treat other types of alcohol abuse. So here we have one. And this is a final slide here where we have, it shows that the application called Deep Pill does machine recognition of the pills and allow us to track, trace, and authenticate pharmaceuticals post-market, as well as would help people keep compliance on their drug regimes. So we think it has broad applications for tracking medications. We also will publish this as a service in our website. That would allow other applications to use our functionality within their applications. We realize that there are hundreds of healthcare applications out there, and that we would just become a feature of their applications to, identify the pill. And then we expect applications to help people with behavior modification, helping people change their behavior in stopping those urges for addiction treatment. So we think that's a very powerful method that people are going to continue to evolve at in the future. Can I take some questions?